Hello my dear students. In the last class we just have came to know about a brief overview of the cell. I mean, what do you mean by cell? What the cell is made of? Just we have seen what are the components of the cell, but we did not discuss those components in detail in every component, right? So today we'll go with each component in detail, right? Before going to that, let us see the cell theory. It means there are some formulations that made the study of the cell easy. It means when the cell was studied for the first time, at that time the cell theory was given by some of the scientists. Now we'll see what is that cell theory. Okay, theory means there are some hypotheses, there are some sayings about the cell. That's only is about the cell theory. Here for the cell theory there is a contribution of three major scientists, three major biologists. The major among them is the Malthias, Skeleton. Malthias Skeleton is one of the German botanist. Another scientist responsible for cell theory is Theodore Swan. So here Skeleton was a botanist who was working on plants, and Swan was a zoologist. These two people have said that the body of plants and animals is made of cells and the products of cells. Simply again look at that. According to them, a botanist who discussed about the plants, a zoologist who discussed about the animals, they said that the body of plants and animals is made of cells and the products of cells. So we know cells, fine. Organism, plant, animal is made of cell. Then what is this products of cells? This is a question again, right? What are the products here? What are the products of the cells? In the last class we have seen that there is different levels of organization. I mean, from a cell there is a formation of tissue. From a tissue there is a formation of an organ. From an organ there is a formation of an organ system. From organ system there is a formation of an organism. Formation of an organism. So cells will make the tissues, tissues will make the organs will make the organ systems, many organ systems will make a complete organism, right? So all these are the products of the cell. All these are products of cell, right? That is the theory according to the Skeleton and Swan, who said about plant, who said about animals. That is, body of plant and animals is made of cells and products of the cells, right? But these two scientists could not explain about the origin of the cell. Okay, they said that body of organisms, plant, animal is made of cells and products of cells, like that. But they could not say by their experiments, by their study, by their hypothesis, they could not say about the origin of the cells. Then another scientist has interfered in the study of the cells The third one, Rudolf Virchow. Rudolf Virchow. So he said that cells divide and new cells arise from pre-existing cells. Means cells, of course, they will divide. But where are the new cells come from? The new cells arise from pre-existing cells. Means the cells which are present already. Pre-existing means the cells which are present already. That he gave a term, a Latin word for that, that is Omnis Cellula Cellula. I means every cell arises from a pre-existing cell. A measure statement given by him regarding the cell theory. Right? Then after the entry of Rudolf Virchow, the explanation by Rudolf Virchow, the cell theory is now called as modern cell theory. Modern cell theory. So now we'll see some of the postulates of the modern cell theory. We'll see some of the postulates of the modern cell theory. So the major postulate as per the skeleton and swan, first one, the body of organisms. Organism means here plant as well as animals. Organisms is made of cells and products of cells. Cells and products of cells as per the skeleton and swan statement. The second one regarding the Rudolf Virchow statement, that is cells arise from pre-existing cells. Cells arise from pre-existing cells. Right. After these two major statements, major postulates, there were few more scientists who have added few more postulates to the cell theory, such as the cells contain genetic material. The cells contain a genetic material. Then what is genetic material here? The chemical, the substance that is responsible for the characteristics transfer. Means transfer of characteristics from parents to the offsprings, father to the son, mother to the son. That is genetic material like DNA and RNA. DNA and RNA are the two genetic materials. One more postulate regarding that is the cells are responsible for all the metabolic activities. The cells are responsible for all the metabolic activity. So again the question arises, what is metabolic? What is metabolic reactions? Right. So let us see the metabolic reaction. Simple meaning is, sometimes there are many chemicals reactions in our body. Right. There may be simple compounds, simple molecules. Simple molecules convert into complex substances. That is simple molecules, simple or smaller. Simple or smaller, complex or larger. So the process where simple molecules convert into complex molecules is known as anabolism. Anabolism. For example, photosynthesis in plants, right? Preparation of the food glucose by using smaller components. Then the reverse process. Sometimes the complex molecules or the larger molecules convert into smaller, or they break down into smaller molecules. This reverse process is known as a catabolism. Catabolism. That is a destructive process. This is constructive process. Means small molecules, small compounds will form larger molecules. That is called as a anabolic process or anabolism. If the larger molecules, complex molecules convert back to simple molecules or smaller molecules, then it is known as a catabolism. Right? Here the complete process is known as a metabolic process or a metabolism. Metabolic process or a metabolism. Right? So these are the few postulates of the cell theory given by at the beginning by Skeldon and Swan, and later modified by Rudolf Virchow. And now the cell theory is not only called cell theory, it is also called a modern cell theory. Right? One more thing, for the NCERT point of view, you should remember the first postulate and the second postulate. These two are compulsory in your examination when we look at the NCERT examination. But when we look at the NEET, CET examinations, others are very much useful for us. Right? So this is a brief information about the cell theory. Right? Now we will move on to the next concept, that is prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. That is the types of cells. The types of cells. So one more thing, students, you should know that for every activity of this organism, the cell is a master. Means every activity of the organism, either plant or animal, is controlled by the cell. So not only cell, again we discussed here products of cells, the tissues, the organs, the organ systems, and all those fluids inside the organ systems are responsible for the complete activity of the organism. Right? So now we'll see the types of cells. Types of cells. Here, based on the development, based on the advancement, based on the nature, there are two major types of cells. There are two major types of cells. First one being a prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell. The second one being a eukaryotic cell. Second one being a eukaryotic cell. Right? So prokaryotic, here we have a prokaryon, eukaryon. Here the word karyon means nucleus. Pro means simple, eu means advanced, developed. Right? So the organisms which have the simple nucleus, primitive nucleus, they are known as a prokaryotes, and the cell is known as a prokaryotic cell. And the organisms which have advanced cell, which have a well developed cell, it is known as a eukaryotic cell, and the organisms as a eukaryotes. Right? So we will discuss about the eukaryotic cell in detail in further classes. Today's class we'll see some brief introduction about a prokaryotic cell. So here in prokaryotic cell, as we said earlier, prokaryote means cells with primitive nucleus. Primitive nucleus. Then what is this primitive nucleus? Again the question arises, what is primitive nucleus? You should remember, you may remember that in the last class we have discussed that in every organism, the cell, mainly in the higher organisms, higher plant, higher animals, the cell contains a well developed nucleus. Well developed nucleus with a nucleolus and the chromatin right. So this nuclear membrane is not present in prokaryotes, right? They have all the properties, they perform all the functions, but simply the prokaryotic cells do not have the nuclear membrane. Hence it is known as a primitive nucleus. That is nucleus without nuclear membrane. We will better write it. Nucleus that is without nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane. Here the eukaryotes have a cell with nucleus, nucleus with nuclear membrane, but the prokaryotes have cell, but the genetic material DNA or RNA do not have the nuclear membrane. Hence it is called as a primitive nucleus, right? Then what are the other properties here? Here prokaryotic cell, the all belong to the kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera, right? Hope you know about the Monera kingdom in biological classification chapter. Here Monera includes all the members of the prokaryotes. It is the only one kingdom which has all the examples of prokaryotic cells, right? So here, then what are the examples for this Monera? What are the examples here? We better write it all. Here when we say Monera, we have bacteria, we have mycoplasma, we have rickettsia, we have spirochete, but here we should discuss bacteria in detail. As per our text, we will discuss bacteria in detail, since it is the only example given in our book. They mentioned mycoplasma as a smallest cell, having a 0.1 micrometer, the smallest cell, that is mycoplasma. Remember this unit, it may be helpful in NEET or CET examinations. Okay, which is the smallest cell, that is mycoplasma, having 0.1 micrometer of a cell size, right? So this is the brief examples of a kingdom Monera, right? So now we'll see what is this bacteria. What are the bacteria? What are the types of bacteria? So when we say bacteria have several shapes. Bacteria has several shapes, but according to a scientist known as E.J. Cohn, there are 4 different types of bacteria. 4 different types of bacteria. One is coccus, second one is bacillus, third one is spirillum, The fourth one is Vibrio. Fourth one is a Vibrio. Coccus, Bacillus, Spirillum and Vibrio. Here Coccus is the spherical bacterium. Spherical shaped bacterium. Bacillus is a rod shaped bacterium. Spirillum, as the name indicates, it is a spiral bacterium. And the Vibrio is a comma shaped bacterium. So here Coccus in the form of smaller sphericals. Coccus. Bacillus, small rod shaped bacteria. Spirillum, the spirally coil with two flagella, many flagella. Comma shaped bacteria. They are called as a Vibrio. Coccus spherical, Bacillus rod shaped, Spirillum spiral, Vibrio comma shaped. Right. Again, when we go a little beyond our NCERT, they will not always live alone. They will not available in a single cell, single colony. They are available in a gregarious pattern. Means they are present in a thousands of numbers. We will see the types of those. Firstly, we will see the types of Coccus. Coccus may be Monococcus, that is a single spherical, means one bacteria, one cell. It may be Diplococcus, that is two bacteria living together. Third one is Streptococcus. Streptococcus, that is a chain of cocci. Chain of cocci. Then Staphylococcus, that is a large mass of bacteria. Large mass of bacteria. Then Tetracoccus, that is 4 bacteria together. Then one more Sarcina, that is 8 bacteria together. 4 on the front side and 4 on the back side. 4 on the back side. So 8 bacteria together will make a Sarcina. These are the types of cocci. Another Bacillus, bacilli. Bacilli, again you can see Monobacillus, Monobacillus means a single rod shaped bacteria. Second, Diplobacillus. Diplobacillus, that is 2 bacteria present together. Then Staphylobacillus. Staphylobacillus not available. Streptobacillus, that is a chain of bacteria, chain of rod shaped bacteria. Then palisade. Palisade means many of the rod shaped bacteria which are arranged parallel to each other. Like that we can see many types of Bacillus as well as many types of Coccus. But remember, the Spirillum and Vibrio do not form any colony. Do not form the colony. They are present solitary. They are solitary in nature. Right? One more thing you should remember, that Vibrio is comma shaped, but it is given the name Vibrio. What is that? The name Vibrio has come from the major property, that is the vibratory motility. Vibratory motility means it will move in the form of vibrations. One more thing, generally you should know that in our mobiles we know the vibration option, vibration. The vibrating device is exactly like the Vibrio. The vibrating device is exactly like the Vibrio. That is why our mobile makes vibrations when it turns around. When the device is exactly spherical, the mobile cannot make vibrations. But since it is a comma shaped device in our mobile, it will make vibrations. Similarly here, the bacteria also has the comma shaped object, comma shaped body that will move in the form of vibrations. That's why it has got the name Vibrio from the vibratory motility. Right? This is a brief information about the bacteria. Right? So this is enough for this class. In the next class, we'll discuss about the ultra structure of bacteria, bacterial cell. Ultrastructure of bacterial cell. It means what is a cell made of, what are the components of the cell, and all other aspects regarding our cell. So keep watching our channel. Wait for the next video. Thank you.